Hello, beloved of the Most High. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. It's sunny out here today, which is really nice. It's the first day I've gotten to wear shorts outside, or I've actually worn shorts outside so far this summer. It's so cold here at the beach. Normally we have warm days. There's people by now out in bikinis and stuff. But not the last couple of years. Last few years it stayed cold a lot later here at the beach. And so we're probably in the 70s today. Maybe in the 70s. There's quite a bit of a breeze, so it still feels pretty cool. But hey, I can wear shorts. So how are you doing today? I hope and pray that you're blessed. I hope the Lord's moving in your life and you're able to see it and know what He's doing, because that is a blessing. Today we're going to talk about a string, a chord. Now this one's red. You can use any color you want. You don't even have to put a string on. I put this on here because I want to think about the red cord that runs throughout the Word of God. And really, it's the same red cord that runs throughout all of Earth's history. History, as far as the Christian is concerned, is his story. And him is Jesus. Jesus is the second Adam. He came to fix what we screwed up. We're Adam. Whether you're male or female, you're Adam, because Adam is a species. Adam is not a gender. God says male and female created He them. So we're all Adam. And Adam's the one that screwed up in the beginning, and that's why things die on the planet, etc. But there's a cord. You can call all of our history His story, the story of Jesus. Because this is all about the Son. God had the Son make a place to make a bride for the Son. We're God's partner. You're supposed to be God's muse. That's why we're made. That's why every human alive has ever been alive, is to spend time with the Lord, here and then afterwards. But we screwed it up. We listened to Satan, and humans are still listening to Satan. Satan just speaks our language. I kind of feel like it's like we have a couple of RVs on the back of the property, and we'll sit in the RV. And my wife had a string, and she threw this string out for one of the cats. You know how you put a piece of newspaper or something? Well, she made a ball of twine at the end of it with a bunch of strings hanging off, and she put it on like about a 20-foot length of string because the RV's jacked up off the ground. And so she'd throw it out into the grass, and then she'd pull it back through the grass. And we have a bunch of cats and dogs and birds and crazy stuff here. And so the cats will see it move in the grass, and they'll go after it. And sometimes they'll even see the string going up the side of the RV to the window where my wife is pulling on it. But they get so focused on what's going on in the grass. And that's what happens with us. That's how the enemy works. He keeps us focused on what's going on in the grass. We're looking at this thing, and we're not looking at the string. You know, it's like with the cats. You know, there's this piece of string, and it's got a piece of paper or something, and they want to bite that. They want to get that, and they're not even noticing the string that's dragging that along through the grass. We've all played with cats or with animals that way. We've all seen that. It's the same way with children. It's the same way with us, too. There's things we don't see that we're not looking at. We're not looking at the long game. That's how Satan and his little minions work. They play the long game. We're worried about what they're going to do next week, and they've already planned what they're planning to do 100 years from then. You know, that's how they've done it. They slowly, incrementally take power. Just do a little at a time, just a little at a time. Don't make them scared. Eventually, we'll get all the power, and that's how they did it. Well, that's what we kind of ignore. We don't see the pattern. And throughout the Word of God, you can see a pattern. You can see the string of Jesus from the very beginning. You know, when they sin and God has to kill a lamb for the blood, you know, the ground cries out to me with your brother's blood. That comes up next when Cain kills Abel. Abel's a type of Christ. The sacrifice he was making was a type of Christ. The sacrifice that God had to make to kill the lamb was a type of Christ. You know, it's all been sin. And, you know, there was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And then there was the tree of life. Well, the tree of life. There's always been this thread going throughout all of time, all of the Word, of the thread between the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. You know, and people are still eating off that. I talk to these law lovers. They just, man, they'll go dig up laws that have nothing to do with them. And they ignore, there's 613 laws in the Old Testament, okay, that they're supposed to obey if they do those laws, and there's no temple, and there's no Levitical priesthood. And they're just like the Hasidic Jews running around sacrificing a chicken. I'm holding up a chicken to you, God. And not doing anything different than any pagan. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit because they just didn't want to follow what God said, and that's what we do. We're humans, and we're stubborn, and we just don't want to follow along. And that's why he had to change systems, because the other system, where they sacrificed animals, etc., people weren't doing any internal changing. They would just do these outside things to get by. And he made it an inside thing. So the string is going through all the Word of God and all of history and all of our life. You know, the same string, the same blood. You know, when God has Moses curse the water of the Nile and it turns it into blood, well, that goes with where it says later on, they've killed the prophets, and your servants give them blood to drink because they are worthy. There's blood themes, there's negatives and positives. There's ways that it's seen throughout there. The hyssop, they take this plant, the hyssop, and they use that to put the blood on the doorpost and the lintel. And then hyssop is what's used when they put it on the end of a stick, and they have a sponge with some hyssop that has wine on that sponge. And Jesus is going to say, you know, what is it? Eli, Eli, sabachthani, my God, why have you forsaken me? And he didn't take any wine before because the wine was kind of narcotic, and he didn't want that. It was like a vinegar in the wine to make them not hurt, so they'd be groggy, and he didn't want that. So at the last, they take some wine. What is wine? Wine is the life of the grape. It's the life squeezed out, the life crushed out. It's Jesus, you know, and that's the blood, that red blood. And they take some of that and they put it on hyssop again and put it right up by his mouth so he can wet his lips to say what he has to say. It's the same theme. All those themes are there, and they're all interconnected. A million of them interconnected throughout there. And they're interconnected throughout the Word of God. They're interconnected throughout the history of nations and of people, how God moves and puts his hand in there in nations. And they're interconnected throughout your life and my life. He's never not been there. It's not what we can see. We don't see it. We're just as blind as that cat. We don't see who's pulling the string. We don't see the good ones, and we don't see the bad ones. We just think it's all us, you know. But that's what we are. That's people. Just don't be mad. Don't be sad. Just let him have you. Just let him have you today. It's his string. It's his thread. It's his planet. It's his world. You're already his. Make yourself fun. Make yourself somebody he wants to hang with. You can do that. You can be God's friend. He says that. He says, I don't call you servants. I call you friend. Because a servant doesn't know his master's desires. Master says, go dig a hole. He just dig a hole. How big, how deep, how far? That's all you got to say to master. But that's not how you talk with your friends. You talk with your friend about your goals, your vision, your dream. Let him talk to you. Let him share his heart with you. Because that's how we overcome. We don't overcome by being religious and doing all your stuff. William's not going to overcome because, oh, I'm just going to be so cool and I'm just going to do everything fucking right because I'm so cool. Bullshit. Bullshit. Those people who think they're going to do that, it's a jack-off. It's a masturbatory fantasy. It's fake. Just let him love you. Just let him love you. He'll do it. He'll work it out through you. Listen. Just listen. He's there. He's faithful. He's not more faithful to me. And he's always been faithful to me, and I'm a jackass. Look at me. Look at this. Look at this shit. You can tell. Just be loved. Let him love you. Lord, bless him, guide him, walk and run with him in what's coming. He's coming. Things are coming in your life. He's bubbling it up. Let him do his thing. Let him bubble it up in you. All his very best. See you on the flip side with Jesus, and we're going to drink some wine with him.